And welcome back to What If, the week of What If. And today's What If suggestion comes from us from Dave's Game Master, who asked the question, what if Smaug was in Avatar The Last Airbender? So we know dragons exist in Avatar The Last Airbender, but we know they were also generally wiped out. They consider the ultimate firebenders. If you can conquer one, you could give yourself the name of dragon. And this held true to the point where there were only two known dragon, Ran and Shaw, or Ran and Chaw, I believe it. I can't remember exactly. I know one was Ran. I can't remember the other one's name. Shaw, maybe. There were only two known dragons left at the time. But the dragons in Avatar: Last Airbender are designed after the traditional Chinese model of a dragon. Long serpentine body, no apparent wings, but they seem to be able to fly. They got the cool, little rectangle mouth and the fangs coming out. I like the Chinese design dragons. Smaug does not fit within the general context of what a dragon is in the Avatar world. So what a Smaug would be is maybe a different creature. I mean, he's still, well, technically speaking, Smaug isn't a dragon per se. I mean, he is and he's not. What he is he's a wyvern, at least from a design standpoint. What a wyvern is, for those of us out there in the know, not in the know, which I don't think is anyone watching this video, but just so everyone knows I know what I'm talking about. You have dragon, you have drakes, you have wyverns, and I know there's a couple other subclasses as well, but drakes are not dragons, or at least not true dragons. They are dragon in form, but they're usually much smaller than dragons, generally speaking. This is not including your fairy dragons or whatever. Then you have your standard dragons. Your standard dragons are, giant monsters like this that have four limbs, arms, whatever. Usually it's technically they're front legs, but they're more. It's kind of hard. They're kind of arms, but they're kind of legs. And two back legs. But a wyvern is a dragon-like being that has two back legs, and then its arms double as its wings, as you see in the case of Smaug here. So it does have arms, but its arms are basically like a bat, more or less. So Smaug technically isn't a dragon, at least not in the traditional sense of the term. So what you can make the argument for is that he's a subspecies of dragon that maybe branched off long ago. And you can make the argument he's the last one in Avatar. He's kind of like the lion turtle. He's the last one in Avatar. Now, Smaug still wouldn't change at all who he is. He'd probably still find a massive hoard of treasure to be hiding under. And he's probably been asleep for most of this time, just slumbering. Hell, we know he was sleeping for decades upon decades. And dragons can do that. Also, Smaug is probably one of the largest creatures in the Avatar world. Smaug's size, at least, 1 second here. Smaug, let's see, his size is, where are we? Size, come on, give me a size. Really? Don't give me a size on the official thing here? Yeah, for 107, oh god, no, it was over nearly 2 centuries he ordered that. Oh, size, here we go. His actual size is unknown and never explicitly mentioned in The Hobbit. But there we go. In illustrations by Tolkien greatly vary in size, portraying him. At least Smaug within the movie seems to be about, in the movie anyway. The Dwarven Kingdom's illustration seems similar to what's depicted in live-action films. The Atlas of Middle-earth by Karen Wynne Ostad, Smaug is said to be 18 meters or 59 feet in length, but this is considered to be non-canonical. Other sources for the film, Smaug is around 130 meters, 427 feet in length, which is greater than 2 jumbo jets. And given the imagery we have for Smaug in The Hobbit, from nose to tail, that seems to add up a little bit. That seems to be a lot more concise than 59 feet, because there's no way the Smaug you see in The Hobbit is 59 feet long. No way on earth. Tolkien will give some indications later that dragon size in relation to the depiction of Bilbo as portrayed in the original illustration of The Hobbit was published, that The Hobbit in the picture, they don't really... Basically, it seems like around that 42 foot angle size seems to be like the right, at least with the way they depicted it in the movie. Which, say what you will about the Hop movies, one of the things I think they got right, at least in terms of concept, is Smaug. Smaug is huge. Like, the way that he's not like the biggest dragon to ever exist in Lord of the Rings, but Smaug is big. Even if we lowballed him at that 59 feet, which I'm not going to, I'd probably go more to that jumbo jet measurement. It still would make him one of the largest creatures on not Middle Earth, but in Avatar: The Last Airbender. We know the lion turtle is the size of an island, so he definitely still dwarfs Smaug in size. But apart from that, you might have the Onagi or the serpent from Serpent's Pass. Man, you're really stretching on a creature in the Avatar world, the Last Airbender world, that would be bigger than Smaug. Again, apart from the lion turtle. But as before, I imagine he's been gone for so long because he eventually found a hoard of treasure to hoard. Maybe from an old Earth Kingdom hideout, maybe from a water or Fire Nation hideout. But he found it and has hoarded it and has been asleep for all those years. Avatars have come and gone since he found that hoard treasure. I would even be willing to say he may have duked it out with some avatars. There is a legend of Smaug. That's the thing. Smaug is well known in Avatar, Lord of the Rings, but here he'd be a legend because he would be a very large, very mean, very almost basically evil, sentient being of destructive chaos. And the problem is, this would not be a creature that would side with anyone's side unless there was something in it for him. And even then, not like Fire Lord Ozai would be very hard pressed to persuade Smaug to join him. But still, that's the thing, is that Smaug would be such a danger. He would probably be a legend. The legend of Smaug maybe gets passed down in the Fire Nation specifically because he is a fire drake. And just could spew. He is the being that even dragons feared. He is the monster that even dragons feared. I can see Iroh telling, sorry, there exists a legend of a great monster, a fire breathing drake. Even the dragons feared. It's like, dragons feared this guy, this thing. It's like, yes, unfortunately, he had no pleasure. He detested humans. He would destroy villages, eat innocents, and cause unknown terror. Even the former avatars struggled to keep him at bay. But one day, when the world needed him most, he disappeared. I can see in lore there being a flip side. But one day, when the world thought that he could never be stopped, he disappeared, and no one has seen him for nearly 200 years. It's like amazing. And thinking on it more, I do think the treasure would be in the Earth Kingdom. The reason for that is it would not be in the water nomads or the wind nomads, especially not the wind nomads. It's not like they have gold or anything like that. The water tribes certainly have some, currency, but they don't have a treasure. The ones that would make the most sense to have currency would be the Fire Nation, given kind of like just the way they handle themselves. Or the Earth Nations, where particularly maybe even not the Earth Kingdom, but like mining colonies with large gold deposits or something like that. Maybe they find a giant gold vein, giant huge amounts of gold in there. Not even, gold coin per se, although some of it probably was manufactured. But he's just like resting in this giant cave of like gold or maybe jewels or whatever. So now we kind of establish what Smaug is in the Avatar universe and where he had been. When does he come into play in the story? Because you don't have a what if Smaug is in the Avatar, the Last Airbender universe, and not have him come into play in the story. The thing is, I don't see him coming into play until the final act. Like, until the final arc of the original Avatar. That, or he doesn't even show up until Legend of Korra. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it standard Avatar because I never watched Legend of Korra. At least not for any extended period of time. I saw bits and pieces, but I never watched it, and I was just not as big a fan of what I saw. So the question would be, why does he wake up? At one point, I could see Aang and the gang, the Aang gang, the Boomerang gang, going and hiding just for the night in a cave. And wouldn't you know it, it's the abandoned area the Smaug is. And I could see people that wonders, this place, it looks like it's an old mining colony. Yeah, the mining colony. Yeah, but what were they mining for? And Toph is kind of sensing around for. It feels like gold. Gold? I was like, and maybe goes. I was like, gold? Yeah, I think this is. If I remember hearing stories about a old mining colony a century ago, being abandoned. I can't remember why. When I asked why, my parents never actually said. Said it was just something that kids didn't need to know about. Squeak. Well, I mean, if we're here, we might as well go a looking. And so they set up camp, and Sokka's going, and goes along too, I imagine. And everyone's just at ease for what it's worth. I could see this being before. Yeah, this would definitely be before the Day of Black Sun. Because you don't have the rest of the gang with them after the whole Boiling Rock incident. Zuko's not with them yet. But as they're in there, it's like Aang's even like, Sokka, I'm getting a weird feeling we should not be in here. Yeah. It's like, come on, Aang. It's like, look, it's like gold. He just starts kind of. I was like, hey, Aang, you think you might be able to earthbend some of this? It's metal. Toph might be able to. I can't. Hey, that's a good idea. That's right. Toph can metal bend. I'll go. Maybe we should go get her. Right. And that's when they hear noise and you just hear sound and hear noise. I don't know if they can pick that up, but it's like, Aang, what's that? And Toph who has been having this weird unease about being here because she can feel the gold through vibrations, was feeling something else. Like, and she kind of like, Toph kind of just suddenly wakes up. It's like, Katara, we need to. Where are they? It's like, they said they were going to go look for some gold. I mean, I wasn't really all that. Interested, but they're not wrong with using because like we need to get them the hell out of there right the hell now. It's like what? It's like there's something in that cave, and Aang and Sokka see the sleeping form of the dragon Smaug. It's like, Aang, what is that? It's like, I think it's a dragon. And even Aang, who's like, he's able to uphold his own mentally against a lot of these, like, holy shit. Because Smaug supersedes in size just about anything on the Avatar planet. Again, lion turtles and maybe the Onagi and the serpent from Serpent's Pass, notwithstanding, or whatever whale creatures might exist in the Avatar world too. We've never seen a whale, as far as I know. But yeah, so there's like we need to get going. And then all of a sudden, Toph and Katara finally get there. It's like Aang. It's like Katara. She's like, Aang, Osaka, where are you? Katara, shut up! It's like, what are you? And Katara finally was like, I was like, they're both like, It's like, I couldn't sense this thing was saying. It was in there so deep, I couldn't even sense it. I knew sense some sort of vibration, but oh man, okay, let's just walk slowly. And all of a sudden, they hear the wake is like, it's like, it's like, so I'm not gonna really try to do my Smaug voice. First off, I don't sound like Benedict Cumberbatch. I mean, I can do like some brief Cumberbatch voices, but not a long-term Smaug voice. It would sound too much like a ramen anyway. But I'll deepen my voice for it. So you've woken me. No, it's just as well. I needed a snack. And he just comes in and just it's like move, and then Toph just fires right back. Boom. Just move, and he's just like throwing air back, and blast them back. Like he can't get enough wind down the cave to basically stop all the fires. So the fire's actually pushing them back, and they go flying out the cave as an explosion. All of a sudden, the mountain starts to shake as the because I imagine like the entrance to like the main entrance of the cave that Smaug used had been sealed off. What they found was an old mine shaft. Ultimately, Smaug is like, just there's Smaug and all of us goes, holy hell, guys, we need to go in opposites. Like, no, did you think you had left me? That you foolish little humans. I will not be denied. You will not escape me. And then he says,
A sky bison. Oh, I haven't had one of those in a while, and you'll definitely be more filling than them.
Appa! It's like in the opposite. And that's, yeah, there's no way Appa's outrunning Smaug in the sky. I was like, you stay.
An air no. I thought that was airbending I saw. No, you're an air nomad.
It's like, I'm the Avatar. And that causes Smaug to stop for him. It's like,
You're the Avatar. Yeah, to think the air nomad the air nomads would have such a weakling as their next avatar, and to think the avatar would die so quickly.
don't talk about my people that way. It was like,
no, don't worry, I'll pay them a visit soon enough.
and just,
But first, let me give you a lesson in real airbending.
just flaps his wings, just boom. You're a little, it's like, and then Topton does the best she can, just kind of like lays like a giant anchor onto his tail, just puts his hands down for a second, like cuffs. It's like, this thing is way too strong. And Smaug just releases the fire. Katara's using all the water she can because mining colonies without water. And I imagine it'd still be some there, just not enough. Aang, combines it with air, and they're basically doing everything they can to hold it off because Aang can't access the Avatar state right now. And it's like, we need to get out of here, yip, buddy. It's like, I'll hold him up. And all of a sudden, he just throws him. He's throwing rock at him. He's doing everything. He's like,
you. The only one of your people I even bothered to respect mildly were those damn firebenders, and even then only because they try to pale imitate, tried in vain, mind you, to pale imitate my greatness. I swear I'll eat all you air nomads.
There are no air nomads left. It's like, would you,
please?
No, you probably. If the story's true, you've been asleep for nearly 200 years. All your nomads are dead. Just because Smaug to stop for a second, just finally just break open from top seals like nothing. Like,
what do you mean your people are dead?
And he explains. He explains like he's on complete edge right now. And he's like, but if the dragon wants to hear him talk, fine, because Smaug actually likes a little conversation. It's like,
barrel rider.
riddle maker,
lovely titles.
Peril Rider, now that is interesting. I love that. It's the only Hobbit movie I own, by the way. That scene with Bilbo and Smaug is great. Like he despite his evil, he does like conversation. And when he hears this, he calms down at least a bit and just looks Aang dead in the eye. Just like,
tell me more, young Avatar.
And he explains how the air monads were wiped out and that it's actually he might be 12, but he's actually 112.
You're still a wormling.
It's like, yeah. Meanwhile, Aang and the others are Toph and the others are like just doing everything they can to get out of this thing's way. Like they cannot stop this thing. It's like, look, we'll leave you alone. We will go. We will stand. Just, please don't go.
Why should I listen to you? I didn't listen to any of your previous incarnations. What's to stop me from now that I'm awake from going back and raising this entire world to the ground?
Because you don't have any reason to.
I have every reason to, because I can.
Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And again, Smaug is actually impressed. Like all the other avatars just tried to attack him and stop him. Except for maybe Roku. I can't think of any avatar that we'd met previously or seen in the past, except maybe the first one, who would actually try to talk to him and reason with him. And Smaug actually laughs like,
you are an amusing boy. None of your previous incarnations.
And he starts just like doing the whole bill slithering around and things.
None of your other previous incarnations have ever tried to reason with me. They always ever saw me as what I was. An extinction. And that's because I brought extinction.
And it's like, you can go back. You have your goal. We don't want it. It's like, oh, the Sokka's about to say, well, I was. It's like, you shut up. And Smaug's looking him dead in the eyes. He's like, I'll and he actually just laughs again. He's like, I actually believe you, boy. Very, and he just kind of looks at him again and just, very well. Hold your word and I'll hold mine. I may be many things, but a dragon's word is its bond. And so, he just decides to, but for now, I am hungry. But as a promise, I'll leave you be. But and then he just smells the air. And just besides, I smell a field of and whatever, a herd of in this. And he just scorches and eats them all, and they fly. But he goes back in his cave. So that is their interaction with Smaug. Now, does Smaug come back into this? He could, but only in the sense that if Aang in theory were to bring the fight to the Fire Lord to him, maybe Aang would in fact go towards it to him for help. And that would be the messed up thing. After the lion turtle thing, that's actually something I imagine he actually maybe says, wait, hold on, there might be some way to help. And the lion turtle actually, because he's could connect with Aang, maybe he actually kind of gets an idea what he's talking. He's like, that is a dangerous gambit, young Avatar. He might. A dragon's word is their bond, but if you break that bond is broken, he will rain hellfire, and I will not be able to stop him. But what Aang ultimately does is, but what if I brought him to you? So, would you be able to stop him dead? And the lion troll considers that as possibly, but that would take a lot of courage. So basically, what Aang does is he again's like, hi, look, I know I promised not to come back, but it's something really important. All of a sudden, Smaug comes out and just looks at. Admittedly, he's not attacking him, but he's like, and you gave your word, boy, and I did mine. You broke yours, so I'm no longer bound by mine. It's like, look, I need your help. My help? And again, it's like, I'm older than you can possibly imagine, boy, and yet, span of only a few months, I have been surprised more times than not. You ask me for my help. What could you possibly want my help with? To defeat the Fire Nation and defeat the Fire Lord. And he explains the Fire Lord. Like, what if I refuse? Well, how about a deal? If you can chase me down, then you can do whatever you want. But if you can't catch me, but if you can't beat me and my friend, then beat me and my friend in a little skirmish, then you gotta help us, and then you can go back to do whatever you're doing. It's just again, this mortal, just this little munchkin, just amuses him to no end. He's like, very well then. I'll give you a minute head start. And Aang flies. I was like, oh, he's not really. And all of a sudden, and just firing off blasts of fire, and just countering with his own fire best he can. And ultimately shows up, and he sees like, bring me to an island. You said, bring me to an island. Not quite. And all of a sudden, Smaug being old enough to probably sense ki on someone was like, or chi on someone was like, it can't be. A lion, and all of a sudden, the lion turns like, poof. It's been a long time. It's you. I can imagine maybe Smaug even knows this lion turtle. That was a dirty trick, boy. I did say it'd be me and my friend fighting versus you. Look, we don't want any trouble, but wouldn't it be good? Wouldn't it be nice to do something good for once? Good. Do you know who you're talking to, boy? I am not good. I am evil incarnate. I decide who lives and who dies. Right now someone's taking your place in that regard. Someone who thinks he's better than you. And it's like, I know what you don't think you can go to me, boy. It's true. He does think he's better than you. He even calls himself the Phoenix King now. From what? And again, I'm not saying the Hydro knows. I'm doing this for effect. It's like, if I swear, if you try anything foolish, boy, or back out of our deal again, I will hunt you down and all you love and char them to a burnt crisp.
and you will watch before you die.
Um, and so Aang confronts the Fire Lord, puts out the fire stick, and at first off, he gets his ass kicked initially, but then it's like, honestly, I didn't know if I was strong to take you on, so I brought help for that. Like,
and who could you have? There's no one who can stand against me. That's why I fly.
And he just turns back and he sees, like, can't be the legends. It can't. And they just clash with fire. Unfortunately, because the Day of Black Sun's happening, Ozai's enhanced, but so is Smaug. So they're just, and Smaug flats his wing, basically creates like a giant. But Ozai gets blasted back.
So you really have advanced to be able to.
And he hits Smaug with lightning, which I imagine would be one of the few things that could actually hurt Smaug. So actually, it's one of those. Instead of like the black arrow, it's the lightning that basically just hits his just like.
Lightning. To think they could do something so advanced. Even I can't do that.
That's a your deal. I will use your skull as a throne.
And I will use your butt, and I will pick your butt corpse with my teeth.
And they just clash again. And Aang is just like, you better be ready. And then finally, it's Aang who comes after being blown. I can see Aang being in the Avatar say because he gets blown back and gets hit on the the side or his hits on his wound, and so he comes in just. And Smaug is actually huffing, but he's never had to really go up against an opponent, say for maybe the Lion Turtle or a previous Avatar, who was able to push him this hard or even damage him. Even the Avatars probably haven't been able to really damage him. Maybe it hurts him, sure, but damage him, that's different. And it's over. And then it's like, you're right. You're right, it is. And then it just bends his energy. And then finally takes those eyes. What did you do to me? I took your bending away. You'll never be able to hurt anyone again. No. It's like, no, that's enough.
You stand in the way of my victory, boy.
It's like, he's already dead. He's lost his power. It's like, if you eat him, that's it. His suffering's over. You let him live and rot. He has to live with what he did for the rest of his days. And Smaug does like...
It seems even someone as kind as you has an evil streak, boy. Very well. Now, I've held up my end of the deal. Now leave me be.
It's like, nah, and likewise. Don't hurt anyone else, and I won't have to come back.
And why do I believe we'll be meeting again someday?
And he just flies off and goes off, and Smaug goes back and retires. So he might show up again in Korra, but I don't go into Korra. So that is, what if Smaug was in the Avatar universe? He actually would be pivotal in the Avatar universe. I love Smaug. Smaug was always just a cool character, even in the books. I love what the Hobbit did with him, and I just like the design of him. He looks very serpentine, very fire. Love the design, and Ben Cumberbatch voicing him was awesome. But anyway, that's my thoughts. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you folks next time.